watching Shape Up with Sue Daley. Welcome back, everybody. A few weeks ago I was showing you my big black book of shapes and designs that inspire me when I'm lacking a bit of inspiration. Sometimes you get onto a bit of a roll with things and then sometimes you feel like you could never design another thing in your life. So this is the book that I go to when I feel that way. So I thought we'd continue on today and show you the rest of what's in this book and maybe motivate you a little bit more and give you some inspiration and some ideas of what you might do with your shapes. So here we go. This is a really cute little design, elongated hexagons, 1 inch, married with a 1 inch square and just put together differently. And again, it creates a little space in the middle that you can applique or you can embroider. It looks really beautiful with an embroidery design in there. And because embroidery is coming back with a vengeance, everyone's always looking for something a little bit different. This one here is something that can be made in a row. So I've just added this little section here so you can see that I can recreate it. So I could use that on a big piece of fabric and join all these blocks and I could just applique them straight onto the big piece of fabric. And this way it eliminates lots of piecing, so it becomes a really simple quilt when you're just making up these small sections and appliquing them on. So we've just got 2 inch elongated hexagons and 1 inch squares. Over here I've worked with a chubby Dresden shape and put it in the middle with a hexagon. We have our little crown shapes here working with a pentagon with 5 sides. This one's interesting. This is a Dresden shape, a Dresden plate shape that we have, and it has the little point coming down here. Now I've just joined them at the points there and it creates this neat little flower effect in the middle. This is a shape that I've used recently on a quilt called Sunshine Lollipops and Rainbows, and I used it, they look like a Dresden plate and that's how I used it, but this is a different way of putting a little motif onto your quilt. The same shape I've used here, except the bottom of it isn't pointed, it's curved in, unlike that one there. And if you put them together like that, this can create a really effective border, and if you'd like, you can applique some circles on there, and it just makes like a wave border. I didn't realise how many of these I'd done. This one here is our braid shape. So it would have been a rectangle to start with and the corner's been cut off. So a half square triangle's been cut off the corner, so we end up with what we call a braid. And when you put those together, it will make a square. So it's like a complete frame, a complete square frame. Over here using exactly the same shape, and this is why we call it a braid. When you put it together like that, it interlocks and it looks like a braid. Some simple jewel shapes just around the outside of a hexagon. I think you've probably seen one of those on a previous page. This one's a little bit interesting. This is getting really creative here. These are our not pointed, of course they're not pointed, they're rounded. These are our rounded thimbles, and I've joined them in 4 and made these arcs, and then I just drew up a little shape that I could join on the end of it to make something really quite different. Now this is not a paper that's in our range, this is something I've just created because I thought, well, that would be really nice if you could have something that looked like that. So this is the shape that we used in our double wedding ring. You can use this in the double wedding ring. It's the same shape from our It Takes Two quilt. Now, over here I've got a bit silly. We've got just some apple cores here. If you join them at the points there, and you can run them along as a border. You can put them around a circle, so these are 2 inch apple cores around a 2 inch circle, which will make, another motif that you can put in a border. And here, this is really silly, it looks like a double-decker ice cream cone. On this one we've got a simple star shape, and that was constructed with a hexagon, an equilateral triangle and a kite shape. This is our scallop shape, 2-inch scallops, and I've put the side of the 2-inch scallop measures 1 inch, so I've been able to put the 1-inch 6-pointed star in here. And if you join 4 of them up to make a bigger diamond shape, you can pop that in there. But you know, it's endless the things you can do. This one here is squares and 8-pointed stars this time. And that then will make an octagon with 8 sides. Now this is a little bit different. In the middle we've got a 2-inch square. We've got 2-inch elongated hexagons, more 2-inch squares here. And this is the curved octagon wedge, which I used in my square dance quilt. So when you put it all together, you end up with this sort of square looking circle. Well, as you can see, there's lots of things you can do with it. This is, you know, only a very small amount of it. So I hope I've inspired you today. It's been nice to have you with me on Shape Up with Sue Daley, and I look forward to joining you again next week when we'll have some more ideas and inspiration for you that you can apply to your quilts and your journey down the patchwork road.